Derrick was born in New Jersey to his mother, Daisy Johnson, and his father, who abandoned the family when Derrick was just a baby. Derrick's mother said that the moment he was born, she knew there was something different about him. Her gut feeling was always shut down by doctors who said that Derrick was fine and she was just comparing him to her other son. Growing up, it was just Derrick, his brother John, and their mother Daisy. John said that Derrick and him were inseparable growing up, and Derrick always wanted to do everything his big brother was doing. Their mother was Derrick's full-time caregiver, and she basically dedicated her life to her son and did her best to give him the most fulfilling life that she could as a single mother. So it pretty much seems that Derrick's family always involved him in their day-to-day activities and made the most out of this situation. Growing up, Derrick's older brother John always mentioned that he wanted to go to school and pursue a good career where he'd have the means to help his mother and brother. And that's exactly what he did. In 2009, John began attending Rutgers University in New Jersey, where he pursued his PhD in disability studies. During one of his semesters, he enrolled into Professor Anna Stubblefield's philosophy class. She was also the director of the philosophy department at Rutgers University and taught the American Studies program at the university. Anna Stubblefield was born in 1969 in West Orange, New Jersey, with her mother, Sandra McLean, and her father and her two brothers who had Down syndrome. For decades, she taught disabled people social skills like shaking hands and talking appropriately with strangers. During her elementary school years, Anna's mother taught her how to write Braille, and she later took an interest in sign language as well. Then Anna's mother became familiar with facilitated communication, particularly for those who are nonverbal and have physical limitations that prevent them from using traditional forms of communication. This technique involves supporting a disabled person's arm or hand over a keyboard while they type whatever thoughts they have on a communication board. This made Anna more passionate about this field of work, and she always wanted to be in the room whenever her mom was having these sessions. Because of this, she eventually grew up and followed her mother's footsteps and pursued a career as a philosophy professor focusing on social justice, race, and disability. In 1989, Anna got married to Roger Stubblefield, a talented tuba player and classical composer. They went on to have 2 kids together, a son and a daughter. However, Anna would go on to say that during this time at Rutgers University, her marriage was falling apart. However, her and Roger were trying to work on their relationship in order to avoid getting a divorce. John was halfway into Anna's course when one day during class, Anna played a video about a woman who had a disability similar to Derrick's. This video was about a woman named Sue Robbins who was diagnosed with autism and an intellectual disability, but was able to learn facilitated communication, and it changed her life forever. So imagine, John saw this and immediately he thought about his younger brother Derrick, and he believed that he could also benefit from this. John really wanted to learn about facilitated communication, so he approached Anna after class and he told her that the woman in the video reminded him of his brother Derrick. John then asked Anna where he could learn about facilitated communication, and after Anna noticed how interested he was, she offered to personally help Derrick herself. Anna said that she can begin by evaluating Derrick first and see where he's at intellectually, and if he seems capable of learning facilitated communication, then she can move forward and teach him this form of communication. Not long after, John introduced Derrick to Anna, and when she began her evaluation, she noticed how smart Derrick was. According to Anna, Derrick began writing longer sentences and paragraphs, and she realized how naturally talented he was with reading and writing. After months and months of their private sessions, Anna said that Derrick was able to communicate very well through this keyboard and could now have full conversations. And you could only imagine how proud Derrick's mother and older brother were. Finally, they were seeing Derrick achieve all these things that they never thought would be possible. And all because of Anna. When John or his mother attempted to be Derrick's facilitator, it was never successful and he was never able to type out a single word that made sense. They found this extremely odd, but they were constantly reassured by Anna, and she said that they just needed to practice more with Derrick. At this point, they had spent many months together and continued to meet on a regular basis. And according to Anna, they had created this bond where Derrick felt comfortable enough opening up to her. Anna claims that Derrick slowly began sharing more personal details about himself, such as his preference in music, drinks, and food. And just a quick reminder, Derrick's only form of communication was from Anna holding his arm while he typed on a keyboard. Anna said that Derrick told her that he preferred to listen to classical music instead of gospel music, that he liked red wine more than beer, and that he did not like meat and wanted to be a vegetarian. When Anna told Derrick's family about his preferences, they were shocked because he always showed signs that he enjoyed these things. During this time, Anna became more and more involved in Derrick's personal life and began interfering with his family's routine and traditions. And I can see how this could be frustrating for the family because it's just been the three of them all their lives. And then this new person comes into their lives and is now telling them what Derrick should eat and how he's feeling and what he wants to wear and all these new things. Even though Derrick's family was getting irritated with what Anna was saying, they believed that it was coming from Derrick, so they did their best to accept it. But it wasn't long until Anna began criticizing Daisy's parenting and accused her of being too in control and suggested that she should stop smothering Derrick. Daisy finally had enough when Anna told her that Derrick wanted to move out of the house and have his own place. Despite Anna's claims that Derrick's communication was improving, it didn't exclude the fact that he needed someone by his side taking care of him at all times. Daisy, for the first time, then started expressing her frustration towards Anna and didn't understand why she was being so intrusive. Around this time, Anna and Derrick's relationship slowly became more than just friends. Anna said that her feelings for Derrick became more obvious as time went on, and she didn't know how to tell him. One day during their session, she confessed her love to Derrick, and she claimed that he told her that he loved her too. They also had their first kiss during this session and decided to keep their romantic relationship a secret because they feared that no one would understand. Anna claims that Derrick expressed that he wanted to move forward with being intimate, but that he wasn't sure because of his disability. Anna and Derrick were intimate a handful of times, and this would happen, according to her, on a mat or a towel, either at her office or at Derrick's house. This went on for a while until 2011. Derrick and Anna decided it was time that they tell Derrick's mother and brother about their relationship. Anna said that they were afraid of what they would think, but that Derrick insisted that they tell them. When that day came, things went exactly how Anna thought they would. Anna sat Derrick and his mother down at the kitchen table, and she grabbed Derrick's hand and he began typing on the keyboard, and he told his mother and brother that him and Anna were in love. At first, John and Daisy were speechless. They did not expect this at all. And then they quickly became upset when they learned that they were intimate. This would be the last time that Anna and Derrick saw each other. But that didn't stop Anna. She consistently called the family to figure out some sort of solution so she can continue seeing Derrick. Throughout the next couple of weeks, she called them many times and left a bunch of voicemails and told them, what's the update? When can I see Derrick? What's really strange is that while this was all going on, Anna was still married to her husband, and he had no idea that she was having this affair. But then Anna promised Derrick's family that she would end things with her husband if that's what it took to be with Derrick. Eventually, John and his mother reported the situation to police, and they were genuinely afraid for Derrick's safety. John and his mother also began having doubts about facilitated communication and were wondering, Did Derrick even learn how to communicate, or was this all a lie? They pointed out multiple red flags, and one of them was how poorly Derrick would communicate using the keyboard with his brother and his mother, but when Anna was around, he was apparently writing paragraphs and sentences. John began doing more research about the subject and stumbled upon a documentary about facilitated communication and learned about another case from the 1990s of someone with disabilities who was being abused by their facilitator. This documentary also spoke about the lack of validity regarding facilitated communication and how people with disabilities were being manipulated by their facilitator when using this form of communication. In the documentary, they did a test called the double-blind test. This is where a picture of a key was shown to both the boy with the disability and the facilitator. And when they asked the boy to type what they saw, keys was typed on the keyboard. Then they showed the boy with a disability and the facilitator different photos separately. The boy with a disability was shown a photo of a cup, and the facilitator was shown a photo of a hat. When the boy was asked to type what he saw, he typed what the facilitator saw, which was a hat. That meant that the facilitator was manipulating the results the entire time. This test was done several times and the results were the same. It was concluded that facilitated communication was coming from the facilitator, meaning that it tapped into the unconscious thoughts of the facilitator, and the person with the disabilities was not the one communicating their thoughts. After John saw this, he felt sick to his stomach because all this time he put his brother in a vulnerable situation, and he thought that this woman was someone that he could trust. John was disturbed that this whole time Anna may have not been facilitating for Derrick, and this was all a lie. At this point, Daisy and John began questioning everything. All this schoolwork that was supposedly done by Derrick, was it actually done by Anna? But Anna claimed that this was never the case and that she proved this in the beginning of their sessions when she met Derrick and he communicated things to her about himself that she would have never known unless he told her. John says that at this point their family was not looking to press charges against Anna, but he just wanted her to stop calling and leave Derrick alone. But Anna wasn't going to stop. On August 2011, she emailed the director of Derrick's day program and she notified them that Derrick's family was keeping him away from her and that they weren't doing this in his best interest. Anna was trying just about anything to keep her relationship going with Derrick, and she was being sneaky about this. She then requested to Derrick's day program that if she could see him without any of his family knowing, and they immediately contacted Derrick's brother and told him, and he was really scared for Derrick's safety. He felt like this was getting really scary and out of control, and something needed to be done to keep Anna away from Derrick. He got investigators involved again, and they created a plan to incriminate Anna. Derrick's mother called Anna after months of not speaking and told her that Derrick's behavior has drastically changed since they stopped seeing each other. Daisy made it seem as if she needed Anna's help and got her to confess where and when their sexual encounters took place. Anna told Daisy basically everything during this phone call, and she went into detail about their sexual encounters, where it happened, and when. Anna was hopeful and believed that this phone call was her only opportunity to be in Derrick's life, and she thought that his family was finally coming to terms that they could be together. Little did Anna know that she was being recorded, and now she confessed everything, and this would be used as evidence against her. Anna was then brought in by police and was interviewed, and she basically told them the same story she was telling everyone. But word got around about the situation and that she was being investigated, so the university suspended her and she wasn't allowed on campus. They also conducted a search warrant at her house, and that was the first time that her husband found out about her affair. During this time, other people who were in contact with Derrick and Anna in the past were interviewed. One of Derrick's teachers who witnessed Anna facilitating for Derrick said that she wasn't too sure whether it was Derrick answering these questions or if it was just Anna. On the other hand, another facilitator who also worked with Derrick and attended his classes said that he was always in full control of the keyboard. She basically sided with Anna and confirmed that, yeah, Derrick can communicate using this method and he is capable of communicating his thoughts. Derrick was then brought in to be evaluated by specialists, and according to them, it was clear that he had the brain capacity of a toddler. And again, it was confirmed that he was severely mentally disabled. With all that being said, it was determined that he could not consent to their relationship. This eventually led to serious legal repercussions, and in 2016, Anna was convicted of 2 counts of third-degree assault. Her trial began in September 2015, and the court ruled that no evidence related to facilitated communication would be considered because the process was not recognized by science. This made it really difficult for Anna to prove her innocence. During the trial, Derrick was brought in so jurors could see the extent of his disability, and this contributed to the decision whether he was physically able to consent to the relationship or not. While Derrick walked in front of the jury, his mother held him really tight because without her, he wouldn't be able to do that. But Anna's mother commented and said that Daisy was purposely holding Derrick that way so he could look like he was more disabled than what he really was. This demonstration definitely helped prove to the jury that Derrick was severely disabled and therefore could not make decisions on his own. The entire trial revolved around whether facilitated communication was a valid technique of communication for people with these types of disabilities. But it was made clear that facilitated communication was not legitimate. There has also been a significant number of studies that have debunked facilitated communication, seeming to show that facilitators are influencing the output deliberately through the ideometer effect, which is when someone makes movements unconsciously based on what they already know. So the blind test I spoke about earlier is an example of this. The American Speech Language Hearing Association has condemned facilitated communication and called it harmful. There have been multiple cases of abuse allegations made through facilitated communication, which were later ruled false, as well as multiple instances of facilitators engaging in activity with those they were facilitating for. And in this case, prosecutors were arguing that Anna did the exact same thing. Throughout the trial, Anna kept the same narrative and testified that she wouldn't have fallen in love with Derrick if he was somebody that couldn't consent. The defense claimed that Derrick expressed consent through facilitated communication and he willingly engaged in a romantic relationship with Anna. The defense also argued that their relationship was consensual, and just because someone is nonverbal, it doesn't mean that they cannot think and have feelings. Anna insisted that what they had was very real and she did not manipulate anything. She said that she felt that Derrick was an interesting person with similar interests as her, and because of his good heart and beautiful soul, she fell in love with him and looked past the way he looked and how he presented himself to the world. However, the court did not agree and found the evidence insufficient to demonstrate that Derrick could consent. This decision was mainly due to the scientific community's skepticism about the reliability of facilitated communication. This skepticism, combined with the vulnerable nature of Derrick's condition, led to Anna's conviction. Anna was sentenced to 12 years in prison and was given parole for life once her release. However, only 2 years into her present sentence, she appealed her conviction and a 3-judge panel decided in her favor and she was released in 2017. They ruled that Anna's defense was limited by the court's dismissal of testimony related to facilitated communication, meaning that the judge did wrong by excluding evidence related to Derrick's ability to consent. And since the jury did not hear this evidence during the trial, it negatively affected Anna's case. Since this case, there's been an emphasis for better training for professionals working with nonverbal people and the importance of ethical standards. Researchers and experts have become more skeptical of facilitated communication. Their stance remains that facilitated communication is not a legitimate form of communication and can put people with disabilities in harmful situations. However, some people and advocacy groups continue to support facilitated communication and argue that it provides a way of expression for people with disabilities and that every situation and case is different. Now, you might be wondering, well, what are some other forms of communication that people with disabilities can use? Well, a scientifically valid communication method known as AAC requires using a device that does not require physical support from someone else. And the person with a disability would be doing 100% of the movement, which to me sounds more reliable and is more safe for the person with the disability. Needless to say, it's important to note that people with disabilities, especially those with severe disabilities like Derrick, can be put in very vulnerable and dangerous situations that may not be so clear in the moment. So I'm glad this case has shed some light on this topic. And that is it for this case.